For centuries, law was a conversation, a human conversation about things like freedom, reason, and justice. But right now, we're in the middle of something huge, a great transformation. We're watching a monumental clash between these ancient legal traditions and the powerful, new logic of artificial intelligence.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? When a machine, an algorithm, makes a decision about your loan, your job application, or even your freedom, what kind of power is that? Is it law, or is it just code? And maybe more importantly, how do you even begin to challenge it?
Okay, let's dive into this. On one side, you've got the world of human law. It's built on these messy but, profound ideas like dignity and justice. And on the other side, you've got machine logic. It runs on pure data, efficiency, and control. These two worlds, they are on a collision course. So let's start with the big one. Let's see how this conflict is redefining one of our most fundamental values, freedom. I mean, what does it even mean to be free in a world that's increasingly run by algorithms?
To really get a handle on freedom, we have to go back to this key classical idea, autonomy. It literally means giving the law to oneself. It's this core belief that we as humans have the capacity to be the authors of our own lives, that we can make rational, free choices.
Now here's what's so interesting. It's a bit of a paradox. We usually think of law as something that restricts us, right? But for centuries, philosophers argued the exact opposite. Think about it. In a world with no rules, a world of pure chaos and arbitrariness, you're not actually free. You're a slave to that chaos. Law creates the structure that makes real freedom possible.
But that leads us straight into the paradox of digital autonomy. See, classical law was designed to make us free from the unpredictable. Algorithms, though, they do something totally different. Through constant supervision, tracking where we go, what we search for, what we want, they work to make us predictable. And this creates a powerful illusion of choice, where the machine is subtly narrowing our options before we even get a chance to decide.
So, okay, if our very idea of freedom is being reshaped, what happens to the heart of the legal system itself? What happens to justice? Can a machine, can it truly be just? To see why this is so critical, just think about the difference between a tax collector and a robber. I mean, they both take your money, right? The difference is morality. Law has to have this internal criterion, this sense of justice that makes it valid. Without that, law isn't really law at all. It's just organized violence.
And this brings us to a really profound philosophical problem. If we want an AI to deliver justice, we have to somehow translate that concept into code. But is that even possible? Can an idea as complex, as human, as justice really be boiled down to a mathematical formula?
And right here, this is the core of the conflict. A human judge can use wisdom. They can ask why someone did something. Was it out of greed or was it desperation? They can apply empathy. They can understand the spirit of the law. An algorithm, on the other hand, it only knows one thing: efficiency. It can process 1 million cases in a second, sure, but it can't show mercy. It has no grasp of context.
This whole transformation, it doesn't just change our laws. It changes how the system sees us as human beings. It really forces us to ask, what are we exactly in the eyes of the machine?
Our entire legal system was built on this foundational idea of the subject of law, a person with reason, with free will, and because of that, with responsibility for their actions. But in the age of AI, we're in danger of becoming a data subject. We're no longer seen as a person with dignity, but as a collection of statistics to be analyzed, predicted, and managed.
And this shift from person to data profile creates a massive, critical problem when things go wrong. If decisions are being made by lines of code, who is actually responsible when a mistake happens?
So let's walk through a simple scenario. A really sophisticated medical AI analyzes a patient's scan and makes a diagnostic error, a mistake. And as a direct result, the patient is harmed. The harm is very real, but the cause? Well, it's buried deep inside a black box.
So, who do you sue? The doctor, who says they were just following the machine's recommendation? The programmer, who wrote millions of lines of code but had nothing to do with this specific diagnosis? The hospital? Or, and this is the wild one, do you try to put the AI itself on trial? The person or thing that actually made the decision just seems to disappear.
This simple question, who is to blame? It threatens the entire foundation of our civil and criminal law. Our whole legal system is based on imputability, on the ability to point to a person and say, you are responsible. When that chain of responsibility is broken, the entire system starts to wobble.
So this brings us to a really critical crossroads. The logic of the machine is threatening to just overwhelm the logic of human law. But this outcome is not inevitable. Not if we decide to act now.
Look, we don't have to choose between technology and humanity. Instead of throwing out our core principles, things like freedom and dignity, we have to build a conceptual bridge. We have to translate these timeless values into the new language of our digital world.
And building that bridge means fighting for new kinds of principles. Things like digital dignity, the fundamental right to be seen as more than just your data profile. Or what about a right to unpredictability? The freedom to surprise the machine, to not be perfectly predictable. And it means demanding algorithmic ethics, actively embedding our morality into the code we create from the very beginning.
At the end of the day, this is the one rule we can never, ever forget. Technology is a tool. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but it has to be guided by our values. It must serve the law and the human-centered world it was designed to protect. It can't replace it.
And that leaves us with what might be the most important question of our time. And it's not a question just for lawyers or programmers. It's for all of us. As we build this new world, how do we make absolutely sure that our deepest values, our sense of justice, our freedom, our dignity, are written into its very code?